He's become the world's biggest promoter in less than a year. He's been in the craziest parties. He's not just a promoter, he's an alchemist. Here is the sun god, alias Luciano Scalioni. Man,
Oh, man.
thank you for being here.
What a title. Thank you.
So, how's Fashion Week so far for you?
Honestly, I thought it was going to be crazier.
Really?
Yeah, I did. It was great. Don't get me wrong. I think
Yeah.
I'm coming for sure every year. I'm not going to miss a single one. But I guess just because, I've never been and I've been following it for so long, and I saw Milan with like Solomon in, that awesome building. I guess Paris did have Circo Loco, but it was like really far away. I did New York at Fashion Week too for the first time a couple weeks ago, and a lot of events. After parties are close. And yeah, it makes me feel good that I came to Paris and I saw room for me to do my event next year.
Damn, that's...
Yeah, I can't stop thinking about it. I'm like, wow, like next year for sure I will do my own thing. And it feels nice. I feel like it's something that doesn't happen often. A good private party.
So tell us, walk us through your journey. How did you get into being a promoter? You're now one of the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
How did you get here so fast, so quick?
I honestly can't believe that I'm listening to that right now. It's always been a dream to attend and be at the places that I was able to get myself to. I started out from the bottom in downtown Los Angeles. I was promoting events that were illegal. The producers, the guy that were hosting the parties, they didn't have the right permits to operate a venue. That's something that at the time I didn't even understand. When somebody asked me to work a party, the last thing I was gonna ask him is like, oh, do you have a liquor license?
Yeah.
Do you have insurance?
Yeah.
Like now I do. Like now if you wanna hire me as a promoter or a DJ, I have a contract and you understand and you follow the rules. But back in the day, the producers of these events, they were hosting the parties in abandoned structures. Mm-hmm. So we would go to a very sketchy part of town, and then there would be like these instructions for arrival. Abandoned building, rats on the floor. The list could not be the worst, but it was a party. And I'm not gonna lie, I still go to those sometimes.
Yeah?
Yeah, this year, in fact, we talked, right before we started recording, but I mentioned that although LA is a massive city, mm-hmm. it lacks parties. There's not enough parties in LA, at least not like there is in New York or Miami. And I caught myself pretty high after leaving the club with a friend of mine. It was 2 a.m. LA, everything finishes at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And we found out that I Hate Models. Do you know who that is?
What's
I Hate Models is a crazy DJ. No, it's a DJ.
Okay.
Search him up. The guy's hilarious.
Okay.
The guy's an absolute crazy performer. And we found out that he was performing exactly where I started, like this underground warehouse in downtown LA.
Okay.
Didn't think twice, I went. So, I got into this because I really enjoy the chaos, the party, the overwhelming feeling of the lights and the people talking to you, and that person is drunk and this person is kissing, and you're just there. And what gives me anxiety? Being alone.
Really?
I lose myself. You wanna make me crazy? Send me to Hawaii or Fiji.
So that's good. We are making a podcast because you in Paris. You were in your room, maybe with not that much planned for.
Yeah, all my friends did leave on Sunday and Monday. Mm-hmm. Paris Fashion Week ended yesterday, but it's been calm. It has been calm, but I'm okay with it because it was 6 days of partying, 6 days of going out.
You get to rest a little bit now. Yeah.
And after being in nightlife for 5-6 years, it does get repetitive. Mm-hmm. When you start realizing that the night has reached its peak and it's not going to get better, which is usually around 3 or 4 a.m. After 3, 4 a.m., I guarantee you the party's not going to get better. I usually leave. But because it's Paris Fashion Week,
you stay.
Oh my God, I'm like, what's going to happen? Let me stay. And it was great. It was 6 a.m. at Rasputin, and the club is 80% empty, and I would see a friend that I haven't seen in a year. So I really pushed myself these 6 days. So the 2 days of rest are doing me good.
So I was gonna ask, after all these parties, all these venues, does it get a little bit old? Do you still enjoy partying as much as you do?
Yes, I love partying, but I really do want to keep partying till I'm 60 years old. And if you think about the longevity of it, I must not party really hard every night. I'm comfortable with that. I wish I could, but I can't. So I definitely leave it for these special occasions. For instance,
you got
this
to be
week.
Strategic.
Yeah, if I'm in LA, if I'm in Los Angeles, my friends don't like it, but I won't touch alcohol. I don't do anything. 1:30, 1:45, I go home and I go to bed. Unless I'm throwing a party.
Yeah.
Then full send.
Okay. So what's the best hack you've developed? Because I think
best what?
the best hack to survive a sand. Yumi talked about a big promoter. I think it was you in his podcast. He told a hack to survive the sand.
Yeah.
So first, do you think it was you?
It surely was me. I don't know, maybe it wasn't. But look, if I could give an advice is yes, take my vitamins. There are really healthy mushrooms that for me make the biggest difference. And for me to be here having a conversation with you and, remembering everything that has happened in my life and I'm able to communicate properly. I take lion's mane. Incredible for focus. It gives you control. And then there's 7 of these amazing mushrooms. There's chaga, cordyceps. One of them is for really, one of them is for energy, one of them is for sleep.
Okay.
And if you just type in Amazon healthy mushrooms, they'll give you all 7 in gummies. And you just take them every day. Incredible. Okay. Most importantly, if you party consistently, let's say it's Fashion Week or it's the World Cup and you want to go out 4 days in a row.
Every day, yeah.
You got to take glutathione. It's an enzyme that helps your liver detox, so break the alcohol and everything. So you'll feel better when you wake up. So you take it before you sleep, take it when you wake up. I take glutathione if I'm on antibiotics or if I get sick because it just really helps you
detoxify.
Everything. Milk thistle too. And the biggest detox cheat code ever is NAD.
NAD.
And it's so funny because my friends all make fun of me because I talk about it so much. It changed my life. Pretty much, to summarize it, every cell in your body, all of them, burn a molecule called NAD+ to function. And as you grow older, your body makes less and less and less NAD. So they were just able to manufacture that molecule, and you can take it on top. So let's say once you hit 23 or 25 and your NAD levels start to decrease, if you take these molecules, you'll just feel young again in every spectrum. Yeah, you're gonna detox quicker. You're gonna feel like you're in college, right? When you're in college, you're drinking handles till you fall on the floor and pass out. Next day you're fine. You can drink again.
Yeah.
You don't feel like that when you're 27. If you take NAD, you do. Putting the drinking aside, better muscle recovery. I'm talking to a few of my friends in LA that are Olympic athletes. They Nigel represents the United States in the Olympics for skateboarding. And the government gives him a lot of NAD for muscle recovery, for concentration, for energy, for everything. So it's really amazing. It's pretty new. When I was researching about this, there weren't a lot of studies on it. Supposedly it has no side effects. I haven't done my research in a minute, so worth taking a look again. But I really believe in it. I feel like when something really feels good and it's right, it's usually right? Your intuition speaks loud. And if you follow your intuition, which is what I've been doing my entire life, when it comes to music, when it comes to throwing a party, when it comes to inviting somebody or not, I think about NAD and my body's yes, please give it to me. So it's great.
How old are you right now?
27.
27, and you feel 20?
Yeah, man. I feel like I'm 21 right now, but if this last summer I was here in Europe for 3 months, and towards the end I ran out of vitamins. I ran out of everything. And when I got back to the US and I was not on any of the things I take for my health, I felt tired. I felt stupid. I couldn't have a conversation properly. It was really weird. And then as soon as I started taking all the, the good stuff that my body needs, then you feel amazing.
So I think everybody thinks promoter is that dream job, you get to go to these crazy venues, vacation, these yachts, these great villas. What would you say are the best benefits of this job, and what would you say are the cons?
I think that the benefits is the people you meet in your journey. Obviously, it's a lot of fun and a lot of pleasure involved, but the people you meet along the way, people that can change your life. I'm not going to stay young forever, I want to party forever till I'm 60, but I don't want to be solely a promoter till I'm 60. I need to run a business. I need to, own part of a company, which is why I started doing marketing, doing distribution for a few companies that we're going to announce soon. They're still not yet in the market, but now I'm able to, let's say you start a product. I know a few owners of supermarkets, distributors. I can put your product in places that you definitely want your product to be at.
Okay.
I can give social awareness. So it just gives you the tools it really allows you to like move into whatever business direction you want to move into. Like let's say Alec Monopoly, for instance. He just knows so many rich guys. Anything he paints is gonna get sold. You see, just like
That's insane.
yeah. If I start a business, if I do a startup or like a tech company or anything, and I need funding, I think that's from what I hear, one of the biggest struggles is like getting funding for a project. I can fund any project, I feel like. I have 500 amazing clients that I host throughout the world. And if these guys are spending, let's say at the very least, a couple $100,000 in a week, what's $1 million for a business? For them, it's nothing.
Okay, so you feel like partying gives you the right, like every people around you is, not every people around you, but you've met a ton of people that later can help you in every aspect of your life, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really proved it to myself yet, but I hear it all the time. Your network is your net worth. And hopefully in a few years, I'm going to be able to say, it's true. Flex.
You know Yumi Denzel?
Yes, I do.
How did you meet him?
We met in LA. He had a promoter at the time in Los Angeles. His name was Justin, and I used to work for Justin. And Yami came, Justin called me. He's like, hey, I have one of my guys. Like he's big. He's sick. And he got me all excited. I'm like, it's gonna be a good night. He's like, yeah, good night. Bring a lot of people. We're gonna pack his house before. We're gonna go to the club. He's gonna pop off. I don't know what occasion it was. He was in LA. I think it was during summer. Just, guy travels. One of those trips. Later, a good friend of mine, Matthias, he does videography for a lot of big DJs. Knew him. And then another friend of mine knew him too. And then suddenly I have this mutual, that mutual, this mutual, that mutual. We started just talking on Instagram until he invited me to Ibiza. And then we did an Ibiza week together.
Ibiza must be crazy, huh?
It's my favorite place in the world.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think it's too much drugs or... Because some people say it's too much.
It's definitely too much. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah?
It's a lot. But Yami is clean.
Yeah.
Which is unlike a lot of the people you go to Ibiza with. So going to Ibiza with a guy that's absolutely clean was interesting. Yeah, I could see he was trying to party with me. He was like trying to. And he made it for a long time, but like, once you're clean, if you don't wake up at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., which is my case, it's hard. It's going to be 4 a.m. You're going to want to go to bed. And yeah, Yami, 4 a.m., bed.
Okay.
Yeah, the girls loved him, loved his friends. The energy is amazing. Great guy.
Yumi, si tu vois ça, t'as son bonjour. So
what does he do?
Yumi?
Yeah.
He does e-commerce.
E-commerce.
Yeah,
e-commerce.
Makes sense. And he has now a podcast. I think it's one of the... Yeah, it's definitely a big podcast in France now.
Yeah, I see it.
It's called Sans Permission.
I see it on YouTube.
Yeah.
On his Instagram, there's clips. And what does he do in the podcast? Just like this?
He talks
about his e-commerce.
It's a great podcast, honestly.
Yeah.
And yeah, Yumi does e-commerce and he sells his knowledge, like in courses, etc.
Yeah, I speak French a little bit, but Yami talks fast.
Yeah.
This guy, when he's on his podcast, it's like I'm on fast forward. So fast, like I can't understand anything. Okay. And I usually understand French, so I had no idea what he did.
Now you know.
I have an idea.
You have an idea, yeah. Like being a promoter, what's the day-to-day job? Like walk us through your journey, like when you wake up, like what you have to do, what you have to think about, what you have to plan.
For me, I enjoy the process. But for a lot of people, this would be hell. This would be their nightmare. There's a lot of rejection involved. People see me with 10 girls and they're all beautiful and they're like, wow, this guy is lucky. What they don't know is that same morning, I probably texted 120 girls that I've met through, these 8 years. When I started, same thing. It just, the party doesn't happen because you just created an invitation and then people found out and came. No one just goes to parties. You could throw sometimes your birthday party and your friends don't show up. Has it ever happened to you? Right? So it's a lot of invitations. It's a lot of calling. It's a lot of girls and guys saying, I'm staying at home, if they reply. There's a lot of people that don't even reply.
Yeah.
And yeah, so my routine is I'll wake up on a normal day, 11 a.m. or noon, if I'm lucky. Normally it's around 2 p.m. And I'll wake up at 2 p.m. Oh, it feels great. It's the biggest pleasure in my life. I think about it every day.
You're thankful.
To not have an alarm.
Yeah.
Unreal. I can just sleep.
Forever.
Nobody can do that.
Yeah.
Right? No one. Fuck. So good. So I wake up at 2 p.m. and then I have, my 5-minute max breakfast ritual. I make a coffee and I eat a banana. I take my vitamins, work. Text,
calls.
call. Think about other people I haven't invited. Now I have a lot of stuff to work on. On a regular basis for the last couple years, I just had to think about tonight. That was my life on repeat. Wake up, plan the night, enjoy the night, / work the night, go to bed. That was the routine. Now I wake up and yes, I do plan the night, but I have to do, the Ibiza trip that's coming here after, and then I have to go to LA, throw the Afterlife show or, promote it, go to Mexico right after, go to Vegas to do the Sphere, go back to Tulum, and then that's October 18th, Halloween in LA, and then on to Linda in Mexico, Formula One in Vegas, then it's Thanksgiving, I throw a party for Thanksgiving. December comes, Art Basel, and it's just at this point I'm just
It never ends.
It never ends.
Yeah.
So I'm with these trips, you do have to plan further ahead. But regardless, what it involves is wake up and I'll text and I'll call people for 4, 5, 6 hours. I feel like it's really important for whatever work you do for you to understand what your body can handle. For me, it's the 4 to 5 hours, 6 if I'm lucky. It doesn't matter. I can try. If I try to do 7 or 8, these last 2 hours, I'm spacing out and I'm not being productive. For me, it's just autopilot at this point. But I'll DM maybe 100 people I've never met in my life every day. And out of these 100 people, back in the day when I started, I used to get
a few.
No, 5 to 10% replies.
Okay.
So let's say I DM 100 people, I'd get 5 people to reply.
Okay. And it's
or
reply.
10.
It's not
reply.
even I'm down. Yeah.
No, just reply.
Yeah.
And out of 20, 30 replies, I'll get one person to go out. That's when I started. Because, you're a nobody. What can you do? You don't have much to offer. I get it.
Just have to grind.
A lot of texting. Texting 500 people to get 10 people out with you? Crazy. Now, thank God, people look into Instagram. They look into that stuff. I have some experience. There's word of mouth, more friends. Now I get to text maybe 100 to 200 and get 15 to 30 people out. But it's cool, People look at it and they're like, holy fuck, this guy's the man. Little do they know 300 people didn't fucking say hi back.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the reality of it.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people can't take it, you DM 30 people, nobody replies. That could crush your soul a little bit.
If you want to be a promoter, you have to handle rejection, basically.
You do. Nonstop, forever. And not even rejection. You have to handle shame too. Because now... Shame, yeah. Now, let's say I made it. Now it's cool. But until you get to the now, people look at you and they're like...
It's crazy.
All you do is drink for a living?
Yeah, okay.
They look at you and they're like...
I get a job or...
They don't take nightlife as an honorable business. The people that work at night are likely criminals, to be honest. This is what you're going to encounter. There's just people that get into promoting. Yeah, they get to promoting because they want to party, but why do they want to party? Some people just want to party for free. They just want to drink for free. I hate to say it, but I met a lot of people that go out at night trying to fuck somebody over in any way, trying to scam somebody for money, trying to find a girl that's too drunk. It's fucked up. And I hear fucked up stories from people that are at the top. This promoter here in Paris, I'm not going to say any names, but he kicked out a girl I know out of his model apartment with no notice at 11:30 p.m. Said you have 5 minutes to leave. Apparently, this is a one-sided story. I haven't heard his side, okay? But let's just say the one side of the story is true, which is the girl's side. Apparently, he confessed that he really liked her, and she didn't reciprocate. So she was like, "Oh, you got to be out," with no notice.
And she was sleeping there, so she had nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. It's just putting people in these very stressful situations is bad enough, he didn't do anything too crazy, but still, that's fucked. So yeah, promoters are seen as the worms by a lot of people, as the bottom feeders. Still to this day, after 8 years of hard work, I meet a girl, and most of the times they're very happy to meet me, but some of the times it's immediate, oh, I'm too good for you. They look at you, they're like, fuck, why are you talking to me? And if you can't handle that, you're fucked.
So oh, you're just a promoter and they...
Yeah, I'm not gonna drop name again, but I was like, I'm talking to this girl that we've been to so many parties together. We have so many mutual friends, and I guess for some people, being seen with the promoter is like maybe unprofessional. I guess you could see that if you're a big model, brands are trying to hire you, they maybe study you and they see like, who do they follow? And then suddenly if you follow a lot of promoters, you know, that could be a red flag. So it's something you're gonna deal with if you wanna pursue nightlife is rejection and shade. But if you know who you are, that won't hit you.
So we've talked about like your next vacation in Ibiza, Vegas, etc. Like, what's the craziest vacation you've ever made, ever been in? I've seen a story where I think you booked a jet to Ibiza for like one night, and then you come back.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Coachella is, really crazy because people come from all over the world and there's like all these amazing parties and everyone's very, very excited to be there. Everybody dresses really well to be there. There's like a big celebration. But when you talk about crazy, you think of the unusual. And I can't stop thinking about, I'm not going to say a location, okay, because that will give it away. But let's say a tropical place. And in this tropical place, we did a trip that we were scuba diving.
Okay.
And in order to scuba dive, you have to have a license. But we found a place, an island, that we could bypass this license. For you to have permission to go to the depth that we were going, which was, nearly 30 meters, 40 meters, like 90 feet. That's a lot. On your 8th attempt. Like everybody had their own instructor, like watching you out. It was just like, there was a whole production behind this, but we were like in the middle of sharks and we were doing the craziest shit. Obviously seeing a lot of beautiful stuff and cute turtles, but
sketchy.
We went to the deep. And for me, that's crazy because you are bypassing safety protocols. You have to have balls. Everybody was fully aware, like nobody was forced to jump into the water. We did it. We felt safe. It was definitely, we definitely felt like we knew what we were doing. Although it was only a few dives to get to where we were, it was like personal enough with the instructors that, it was almost like muscle memory. That was really cool. And during COVID, there was this group of people that were throwing illegal
parties,
festivals, much larger than that. Illegal festivals in the middle of the desert. They would have like a secret coordinate and you would drive 2 hours.
Damn. Okay.
In the middle of absolute nowhere.
In California?
Yeah, in California. And, suddenly you would see like a festival production, like stage and tents and bars and, chill out areas, everything. And in one of them, I guess the weather forecast changed because it was... Well, the weather forecast changed and the stage had all these like linens that were like giving shade to the people during the day. So like it was covered. And at night, it just started getting very windy. So it became a super hazard because the wind was strong enough to where like it was lifting the structure. And now there were like, thousands of people partying under this very heavy metal structure that was about to collapse. And luckily enough, the producers of the party noticed and they cut the music, they made everybody evacuate, and the stage almost flew and somebody could really get hurt. So when I think of crazy, I think of these moments that we were not really on top of safety protocols, which is something I really don't take the risk anymore. When you're young and you're a little bit reckless, you take risks. You don't care about anything. So yeah, I've been in situations. Sometimes you're in a boat, you have a really, really hot girl on a jet ski, and you're all drunk, and she says, "Hey, come on a ride with me." Now I'm mature enough to say, fuck no. But I've been to these, I've said yes, and we've fallen at like 60 miles an hour, broken ribs, could drown, It's just stuff that like you really understand only when you get old. So that for me is crazy.
How does it work? Like when a guy, let's say, rented a boat, wanna have a party, like how does that? Does he call you? Then you flew everyone out?
Yeah. So if you wanna work with me, you can. If you wanna keep it very simple, which is what the majority does, is say, hey, Luch, this is the week. I want to make it epic.
Yeah. We have this budget, this boat.
I have this many spots. You fill the spots, And I have guys that obviously just want girls. I have guys that just want a good energy. So he wants, Jay Alvarez there and, a photographer and the girls as well and maybe an athlete. And he just wants to make like a cool environment. Those are my favorite. I have friends that trust me to the point that they say, hey, this is the trip. Bring whoever you want. On the next level, a guy could come up to me and say, hey, Luch, this is how much I want to spend. And let's just, for mathematical purposes, let's just say it's $100,000. So he's going to say, what can we do with that? And then that's when people can really use my knowledge, right? Because, for instance, for $100,000, you could go to Mykonos and you could get an average house for $50K and you could fly 3 people and that's going to give you enough budget to go out maybe 3 or 4 times.
Going out is more expensive than a house.
In Mykonos, right? Yeah. Or with the same amount of money, you could, let's say, go to a party in Mexico, like let's say Carayes, which is gorgeous, get a sick house for maybe 30 grand or less. You could fly a lot more people in. You could have more production. You could have more, luxury. Or if you want to go even crazier, I could get a friend of mine that owns, let's say, a house that you would rent for $80,000 a night, which has been the case.
Crazy houses.
The craziest house.
Yeah.
And I'm very transparent. Like one of the things that I'm very proud of is that I've never fucked anybody over in any way. Very transparent on everything. I say, look, I have a friend. He will let us stay at his house. Out of this 100K, I will take 20. I'll set up the house for free, the entertainment for free. I have my production people, it's driving distance. They'll come, they'll set up the party, we'll pay cost, and I'll end up saving the guy an extra 100 or 200K. So his trip that's $100,000 now is worth 300. He only spends 100. I make money, and everyone's happy. Over deliver what the guy tried paying for, and it's just like a much larger experience for your buck. That's when Luch is like full power.
Damn, that's nice too. Okay, so not only like money matters, but you also have to be strategic how to...
Yeah, I mean, it could get to the point where like somebody tells me, hey, Luch, I want to go to Brazil, and the budget is like capping. It's like, okay, we're spending too much. I'll tell them like, hey man, I can invite one person and double your budget. I'll make a couple phone calls. Now this trip that was like impossible to be done, now you're saving money on it. Now I brought a guy that's putting just as much money on it.
Got you. So sometimes like one guy wants to make a vacation.
Yeah.
But alone it's impossible. So
yeah, he's just like, I want to do this, but like, wow, we're just so over budget. I don't think it's possible this time. Now I'll take a step back. I'll say, hey, are you cool if I invite another guy? I'll find somebody that's free. We'll do this together. And then boom. Now there are apps and businesses that are coming out. They're not out yet, but they are going to come.
That's going to do this job.
That is going to do this job. It's just going to be like a membership service that, you post in the app. Like, let's say, I want to go to Ibiza and I want to spend $50,000. And then the app is going to post that idea and people are going to request to join. And then now you have, 5-6 guys that are all trying to pitch in the same amount of money. And now you have a $300,000 trip. And, the app's going to connect you with a promoter to fill in the spots that you want. And it's going to suggest the hotels. And it's really cool. There's 2 apps that I know that are coming out. One of them is from my roommate. The name of the app is Utopia. Same concept. A friend of mine, Sean from LA, is doing another app called Fly Me Out.
Fly Me Out, okay.
And what they do is just connect people to make these unrealistic trips that seem just so far away for the majority. They're going to make it reachable. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant, yeah. But I do want to come back at the craziest thing that I've ever seen.
Yeah, because obviously you have way more than one story.
I cannot leave this out. Go to Burning Man. Go to Burning Man. There's nothing
crazier,
more mind-opening than Burning Man. And yeah, you could call it crazier. You could call it wholesome. You could, just really. It's a new society. It's a new planet. It's a new world. And not just because you're fucked up and you're in the middle of the desert and you're seeing stuff because you're on stuff. No, it's just the whole concept of it. A lot of people don't know how Burning Man works. First of all, it's a place that, yes, you do have to go there for a week and you have to bring everything that you would need to survive for that whole week. That's not it. First of all, you have to bring more than that. You have to bring it for yourself and for others. But done that, now you're there. Burning Man is a gifting society where nothing is sold, everything is gifted, everything is everybody's. So everywhere you go in the playa is free. Everything. Alcohol, you go to a party, somebody's cold, you know, you're gonna see somebody giving them a jacket to them. Everyone is just there to help everybody survive. Now with that, the mood is impeccable. Nobody's trying to take advantage of anybody. And now you're having fun with your friends and, you know, you're drunk or high and you're biking down the playa and it's just the desert. You don't even see the end. It's just infinity. You know, like how you're at a festival and you know where you're going. Sometimes you're at Burning Man, you have no idea where you're going because in every direction you look, there's no end.
It's a movie.
So you just keep pedaling and you're like, ooh, where am I gonna end up? Suddenly there's, you know, this art piece that makes no sense. You keep going and now there's another art piece and that one is on fire. You know, like, okay. And your squad, everybody's like on bikes, drinking. Maybe that's not safe, but you know, that's what you're doing. And then suddenly there's like a group of people here partying and music. And you're like, everybody, let's stop here. Stop. Park your bikes, you lock them. Now you're partying and listening to music and your friends and DJ's crushing it. Music is starting to get louder and then boom, suddenly you look and massive sandstorm is coming. Everybody, you know, you put on your mask, put your goggles on. Now you're partying and the music and you can't see anything and like your friends were here, but can you see them? No. And like, boom, storm's gone. And then suddenly everybody, their clothes are off and you're like, whoa, and now you're partying. People are naked. There's sand on your hair, sand on inside your body. It's just so overwhelming, you know? And then now like, you're like, okay, let's go somewhere else. You bike and, you know, suddenly you find yourself in a casino in the middle of the desert.
No way.
Yeah. And people are playing strip poker. Like there's a table, you know,
it's mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. And plus you have, you know, really good music.
Because you love
for me, that's
house
really
music.
that's for me that's really important.
Yeah.
Music is everything.
What would you say like between Ibiza, Saint-Tropez and Mykonos is the best place? Like what's your favorite?
I personally like Ibiza more. For the girls, I hate to say it, but most of the girls like Mykonos more. And yeah, they do like Saint-Tropez as well, but I'm an enemy of the end. You know, if I went to Saint-Tropez, I did a trip there, and I would find myself at 4 a.m, like the night's starting, and suddenly the night's over. Everyone's going home, there's no after parties, there's no venues going. Yeah, it's just like what do I do now? I just had to go home. And in Mykonos, it's just like such a small island. You can party all night in Mykonos. You know, there's Moni, there's Void. Maybe there will be an after party, you're not sure. But it just gets repetitive. And Ibiza is just such a bigger island that, you know, you have more options every single night, more acts, more DJs, a little bit more comfort, no traffic. You know, I like the music in Ibiza a lot more too.
It's more electro kind of vibe, I feel like.
I mean, they have everything, but because the clubs are so large.
Yeah, it's bigger crowds, bigger.
6,000 people, 8,000 people, 3,000 people. You know, they make more money. They can pay for better artists. So you have better artists in Ibiza every day. And for me, I like techno. A lot of people like Afro house, like tech house. I like techno.
Okay.
Mykonos has none. You know, maybe twice a week you have Maceoplex at Void. Once in the whole summer you have Solomon at Alemagu. But other than that, it's just like very vibey and wholesome. And you know, I said in the beginning of the podcast, you know, I come from underground illegal parties. You know,
it's day and night.
Yeah, it's day and night. Like I did it because I liked it. I like the hardcore stuff. I like going hard.
Full send. You're a full send guy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, you know, if I'm gonna chill, I'd rather stay home.
Okay. So the jet in Ibiza, like, how does it plan to just go for a night, to fly there for a night? Like, what? Tell us stories, man. Like, we love it.
My friend did that for me actually because he wanted to do Mallorca. He's a good friend of mine. You know, Mallorca is just, it's too relaxing. I set up the trip for him. I did the invitations. He was really happy with everybody that was attending. The house was flawless. Everything was good. You know, it'd be a dream for most people to be there. But like I said in the beginning of the podcast, you want to put me in hell, send me to Hawaii. I need the party. I don't need to be there to get drunk or too lit. But I like being in that environment. And to be in Mallorca for a week, for me, I said, it's just
Too
like
chill for you.
way too chill. I'd get anxiety being with the same people in the house for 7 days. So I told my friend I can't do it. So he said, what if we go to Ibiza for a night? And we're like...
Security is like, you don't have bags? You say no.
So, yeah. So actually what he did is he got a house that had a helipad nearby, and we were planning to, take the helicopter to Ibiza a few nights. So we were just, it's helicopter rides, scenic, sounded perfect. So we did that, and we were planning on taking a helicopter to Ibiza for a couple nights. And literally this year, after we booked the house, Ibiza passed a law of noise pollution that banned helicopters. So now it was just, the only solution was to find a jet, and you can't just find a jet like this in high season Ibiza. It was like middle of July. There was nothing available, nothing. We found this small plane. It was like a 6-seater, and the time slots were fucked up. It was like leave at 9 p.m. and come back at 6 a.m. So like we were gonna be there for, 5 hours, but he did it for me. He's like, let's fucking do it. And I booked myself a flight back at like 3 p.m. because there's no chance in the world I'm gonna be partying in Ibiza and I'm gonna go back to Mallorca at 5 a.m. No, they went back. I stayed out. Oh yeah, I stayed out. Sunrise, the best.
Do you prefer a villa or a boat? What's your favorite?
Apparently there's a law all over Europe that no matter how big your boat is, you can only have 12 people stay in it.
I don't know.
Unless you're in Croatia. Croatia is the only place that
allows it?
It's something like they let you categorize your boat as a ship. And if it's a ship, you can put 20, 30 people in it, right? That's why there's a lot of yacht trips in Croatia all the time, is because you can bring your friends. So yeah, if I did a Croatia trip and, it was a 10-bedroom boat and we had 20 people in there, and some of our friends got kicked out a couple of days in because it was just so much chaos. But other than that, yeah, it's beautiful and it's the dream for a lot of people. But again, for me, I would rather be in Ibiza at a villa, preferably one with a club inside that I can throw a party at.
A villa with a club inside?
A lot of the villas in Ibiza, a lot of them have a nightclub inside.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And some clubs are better than the others, but most of the clubs are extremely decent. They have what people don't really look for in a club. Okay, if you get a villa in Ibiza that has a club and you plan on throwing a party, make sure that it has enough bathrooms, because that is the biggest problem with every villa party, is just you're intoxicated, you need to pee, you didn't think about it, but you gotta go now, and there's not enough bathrooms, and the lines are too long. That's an after party nightmare for everybody. And I know houses in Ibiza that their clubs have, 4 or 5 stalls, which means you don't have to bring from outside. There's like services, you can get porta potties or luxury bathrooms, but that's a big deal.
Like, what's the craziest villa, the biggest villa you've ever been in?
I think the nicest villa you can rent in Ibiza at the moment is called Villa Luna. I have a video of it on my Instagram.
I think
it's the one with the triangle pool.
Okay, got you.
But the problem with that villa is that people rent it thinking that you're gonna have total freedom, and actually the staff and the owner are super, super strict. And I've seen this maybe 10 times because I've been in it, and when I'm not in it, my friends are in it, and it happened to me, it happened to my friends. You can't party in that villa. Crazy, right? You go to Ibiza to party, but you can't party in the villa. And other than that, all the other villas in Ibiza, everyone is like, set the house on fire. But not Luna.
It's frustrating.
Luna is very frustrating.
Obviously, when you go to these venues and private parties, you see a lot of celebrities. Like, do you have any guys that stood out of the crowd who impressed you the most?
Yeah, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man.
Yeah?
Yeah, he stood out for me because every celebrity I've ever met is very, very cautious to who they're surrounding themselves with. A lot of them don't want to be seen next to somebody doing drugs, with all reason, next to somebody that's super intoxicated, next to a girl that looks too young. You don't fucking know. Maybe these girls are underage. You don't know. And these paparazzis are out to get you. But Toby, on the other hand, he's surely cautious, but he was just very in the moment, very present. he didn't give off this energy that he was
Precocious, like too precocious.
he was just there talking to
fun.
everybody, having a drink. Whichever person came up to him, started having a conversation, you know, he was there. He was really almost like he doesn't get to do that often, and he's out and about, and now it's time for him to enjoy. You know, his phone was out, as opposed to like Leo that, you know, comes in a hoodie and a cap and puts himself in the corner. Two of his friends here, and it almost makes you feel confused if they really want to party or not, you know?
Have you seen him a lot?
Yeah, of course. Nobody goes out like him. He goes out a lot. He could be a promoter if he wanted to. This guy, number one, he's a full send god.
We've seen him going out a lot in Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, always
Saw him
like
on
black,
Wednesday. Yeah, on Wednesday at Storino's party, cap, hoodie. I saw Tom Holland, and he was a guy that came off as somebody that doesn't party at all. I feel like he doesn't even drink. Very hard to have a conversation with him, just like kind of stuck.
Maybe some celebrities are shy. We don't know.
Oh, for sure, yeah. You know, I feel like it's very important for whatever job you do in life, whether it's an actor or a musician, you have to be yourself. And same for me, you know, DJ and promoter, but, you know, I'm me. Have a conversation just like this with anybody. And yeah, for some people, it's definitely not the case.
In Paris Fashion Week, almost everybody was there. Like, who did you party with? Like, who have you seen? I think the Kardashians were here.
Yeah, Selena
everybody.
Gomez.
Yeah, Selena Gomez.
Hailey Bieber, Jared Leto. I didn't talk to any of them. Just saw them. It's just, it must be difficult if you're a big celebrity. Everybody's like trying to talk to you. So the last thing I want to do is be that person, you know?
Okay.
And I got to the point now that I have some big celebrities like phone numbers, and I have the freedom to send them invitations to an event or party. And I want them to be able to feel, you know,
good,
comfortable. Like, you know, he can relax. Nobody's going to be on his ass. You know, I'm going to bring people with the same energy around them. It's just, I feel like once you hit that level of fame, it's very hard for you to reach comfort. So the last thing I want to do is give a celebrity discomfort, period.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Like in club, etc. What's the biggest bottle service you've ever seen?
Biggest what?
Like biggest bottle service.
You
must have seen a lot, obviously.
Yeah, I've seen a lot. I think the one that I've sold was on a Tuesday night, October 6th. What day is it today? The 4th, the 5th?
4th.
Okay, I have to wish my friend happy birthday. His name is Adam, and on
Happy
the 6th,
birthday, Adam.
On the 6th, happy birthday, Adam. On the 6th, he spent something like $58,000 at the club for like 10 people. And then on top of that, he spent another 40 with the after party. So he went pretty big. I've seen a guy from Texas do nearly 100. And yeah, it's surreal. It's surreal. But it only happens if you're a promoter in Europe.
Yeah.
If you're a promoter in Saint-Tropez, that's every weekend, right? You go to, what are the clubs in Saint-Tropez? What's the beach club? Shelona?
Drake was at Shelona.
I feel like Shelona, this happens every day. I mean, at least I'm on Instagram and I've seen people that are in Saint-Tropez. There's no...
Sometimes you're on breakfast, a guy went and like...
yeah, more than Ibiza. Ibiza, you have these tables that cost you $25K. Mm-hmm. So you see the $25K on stage. Makes sense, but they don't do bottle shows in Ibiza.
I feel Saint-Tropez, there's no limit to
But
it.
Saint-Tropez, you see people that are spending, you know, $100K, and then somebody else, this Arab guy will say $150, and then this French guy will say $200, you know, and then like there's like situations where like they'll bring a fridge from the kitchen, and they'll bring the entire fridge, like 6 guys bringing a fridge, all stacked with champagne bottles, and there's like, you know, 60. And like now there's a table with like a fridge of champagne, and it's just, in LA we call it a pissing contest. It's a show off. Saint-Tropez is the spot for that.
Definitely.
And it's the place that I don't want to go back to, because what's the point of doing that if you're not going to party all night? If you're going to spend $100K, at least stay up 2 days straight.
I feel like this guy, I feel like this guy they just go, they flex, they leave.
It's crazy because the most amount of fun I've ever had and the most amount of fun that I've seen people have is always very unrelated to the amount of money that's being spent.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yes. You know, it's just like you go to these, I want to take it to the extreme, but you go to a college party where these frat and sorority girls have no money to buy good alcohol. They're having the worst tier of tequila and the worst tier of vodka, and you will never see somebody as happy as them. Their smiles are like so happy to be there. And to a smaller scale, you go to these like simple parties with less production, less service, and what is it? Why is it more fun?
Yeah, sometimes
is money a distraction? Is that what it is?
Maybe you get
Don't get me
numb to
wrong,
it.
it's fucking hell. It's really fun to be, in a club in Mykonos and partying. And the most amount of fun I've ever seen are on the more simple
Basic stuff.
environments.
Have you seen like depressed billionaires or
All the time. We call it desensitized.
desensitized? Yeah.
I'm desensitized.
Already?
Yes.
You've seen it all.
Yeah, it's just like I'm not easily impressed. What impresses me is happiness. Like if I go to these simpler events and I see that all my friends are having a lot of fun, everybody's laughing, everybody's really happy to be there, that's contagious. I feel like energy in general is contagious, right? I studied a little bit of psychology and
It's everything.
yeah, the brain has these nerves called mirror nerves. And like when somebody's gonna tell you a joke and they start laughing before they say the joke and then you're already laughing and the guy didn't even start the joke, that's the mirror nerve, right? So like the way you're feeling, the brain will capture that and it will replicate the feeling. So if you're in a fucking party where people are very happy to be there,
Instantly you're
on.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what
That's
I try.
logic.
That's what I try to replicate with my parties as much as I can. And it involves several things. The first thing that I opt to when I throw a party is normally my parties are free, and that will give people kind of this relief. Every party I throw is listed. There's always somebody that wants to throw this party and pays for everything, but I'm not charging money at the door. I'm not selling tables. It's open bar. And that creates a really nice environment. Other than competing, there's no section. Every party I go to, there's no VIP section. This person can go here, this person can go there. Everybody's the same. That also helps a lot.
You've talked to us about the party you threw at your house in LA with too much people and...
Yeah, I went to court, probation. My first time, I'm a criminal. Yeah, I threw a birthday party for myself in my friend's house in Beverly Hills, which is a very quiet neighborhood compared to all the other neighborhoods in LA. I had planned for a party to host 400 people.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
It's still a lot.
It's still a lot.
Yeah.
I have also videos on it on my Instagram. You can see it's packed. Definitely looks like 400 people. But outside of the house, there were 1,000 people. And for Beverly Hills, that's unacceptable. It was Project X. I took all the precautions I had to take to avoid that, which means
Security.
30 security guards. I had security guards. I had 10 inside surrounding the property, right? 2 actually inside. I had 5 at the front gate, and I had 15 across the streets, making sure people were not entering neighbors' houses.
Doing stupid shit. Or,
Exactly. And on top of that, I hired 3 police officers. In LA, you call them barricades.
You can hire police officers?
Yeah, you can hire actual police officers, which means like whenever they're not on duty, if they're not working as a police officer, you can pay them to be dressed as an officer, which they are, with their police car in front of the house. And that still didn't stop people from doing chaos. Long story short, I got a misdemeanor for disturbing peace. My lawyer was excellent, thank God, and he was able to negotiate that the misdemeanor will disappear from my record if I behave during this probation period, which means I cannot throw a party for a whole year in LA.
Which is hard for you.
It's hard for me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's the biggest... First of all, it's my business. Pretty much saying you can't work for a year. Luckily, I'm in Paris.
You can do everything you want.
Yeah. Luckily, I actually am not going to be in LA much. I feel like
Miami.
this year for me has been traveling, being out of home, and I guess I'm gonna try to stretch that until my probation period is over and I can finally throw a responsible party that's not gonna disturb peace. I already have a decibel reader that the music's not gonna be loud enough outside. It's just I'm gonna
full
really,
production.
and you can get permits. You can get a permission from the government to throw a party, so you can do it right. And yeah, good luck to me.
Good luck to you. Thank you, Luciano.
Thank you too.
Thank you. That was a great podcast. All your stories. It was very nice. Very nice to meet you.
Cheers.
Very nice to have you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.